Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us today for our online service. We are so glad to have you. And hey, we just want to let you know right off the bat that we are back in person at our building. So if you are comfortable, we'd love to have you come join us for an in-person service. Otherwise, we will continue to have these online services, and we are just so glad that you are joining us today. For worship today, we put a link in the description of this video. We'd love for you to click on that. It's a list of songs, and we'd love for you to just take some time to sit back, listen to those songs, engage, and hopefully you can get something out of it. But hey, again, we are so glad that you are joining us today. We hope that you're able to get something out of this service, and with that, we are ready to go. So let's get into it.
Shaheen gave me this opportunity to talk, and so I told him that there'd be a time limit, but what's he going to do now? Huh? I just may not stop, okay? I'll just keep going. And it's been about 8 weeks since I've been up here and talk, and I've really, really missed it. I love doing this. I'll be honest with you, I love you. I love you, and even if I don't know you, that you're a person, and God loves you, and He wants the best for you. He does, and there's so much in God's Word for each one of us, and I just want every one of us to know that. So I really, really enjoy doing this, and some people have asked, because I've kind of went up and down with I don't get an opportunity to do this, and like I've had some bad days, and I've had some good days, and so some people have asked, so why'd you do this? And there's many reasons, but it comes down to this. Close your ears. No, I'm serious. I don't want you to hear this. Can you hear me anyway?
You got a microphone.
Have you ever had mixed emotions? Like you're really happy about something, but you're really sad about something too. And it's this. Basically, He's just good at it. And He is. And He's great at it. I sit and listen to Him, and sometimes I'm jealous. You ever been jealous? Sometimes I'm jealous. I know I'm a sinner. Sometimes I'm just jealous. Is it like, how come I'm not that smart? But anyway, thanks for the opportunity to speak, and it's great. Now, if you are here for the very first time, you're not normally coming to Access Church, we really want to welcome you, and we hope that you will enjoy yourself here. If you're watching us online for the very first time, we hope that you enjoy this. We hope you stay tuned, because what I'm going to say, at least as I start out the thought today, it might be a little bit hard to listen to. Okay? Now just brace yourself. Some of you might be disappointed at what I'm going to say. Some of you might be offended. But you've been offended before. You'll get over it. But seriously, don't run out. Don't quit listening. If you get offended at what I say, you're not going to hear the rest of the story. And so I just want you to stay and hear the rest of the story, but I'm going to kind of share some things about my life that I've never shared on stage before. And one of them is, and my mother's here, and she's just going to go, son. You'll pray for me. Don't you pray for me now? Okay. So what I'm going to share shouldn't matter. Okay. My mom and dad love me. Most of the time. Okay, what I'm going to share with you is this. This is a cigar, and I want you guys to know something, that from time to time, I enjoy smoking a cigar. I don't know, something about it. I relax. I just enjoy smoking a cigar. I find it as a time of just to kind of relax and usually think, and I find it very enjoyable. But that's not all. Sometimes I enjoy a glass of whiskey. This happens to be Heaven's Door whiskey. You think, really? Heaven's Door? But it's Bob Dylan's signature whiskey, knocking on Heaven's Door. It's a little spendy, but I don't drink it that much. But I just am sharing with you that there are times I enjoy, and I mean really enjoy, a glass of whiskey. And there are times I really enjoy both at the same time. Mom, I'm still your son. Okay? But I'm going to go further with this. Again, I don't want to offend you or shock you, but I also have a crush on Jennifer Aniston. I watch every movie she's in. I just think she's hot. And I do. And I told my wife this. Why do you watch that movie over and over again? Well, Jennifer Aniston's a babe. And my wife said, but she's old. I said, then it works. Those are some of the things that probably shock you. But I want you to know this. I know some of you right now are thinking, and you might be new here and think, why do you even come here? That guy's not even a Christian. You may think that I'm not a Christian now because I've said that. But I want you to know that I am a Christian, and I enjoy a relationship with my Father in heaven who gives me peace and joy and gets me through the world. I enjoy His presence so much. But I am a Christian. I believe that's done because of what Jesus did for me. I put all of my eggs in one basket, Jesus. Listen, if I get to heaven and Jesus didn't really cleanse me of all my sins, I'm screwed. I am. I'll be honest with you. Can I say this? Okay. You know what? I'm doomed. If Jesus really didn't cover all of my sins, I am bound for hell. There's no question about it. Some of you might be thinking right now that, well, Kevin, you're causing people to stumble. It's a big warning in the Bible about not causing others to stumble. My intention is not to cause you to stumble. I am not telling you this because I want you to do it. Not at all. I am not bragging about it. I am not glorifying either tobacco, alcohol, or hot babes. I am not trying to get you there. I'm not glorifying it. I'm not bragging about it. I'm not making a big deal about it. But listen carefully. This is what I'm doing. I'm being honest. That's something you hear in church very often. Honesty. Matter of fact, if you grew up in church, you were taught the opposite. Well, don't be honest. I mean, don't really. If you say it, then you're guilty. Well, don't do that. As a matter of fact, in church, I've heard so many times that even if I'm sick, don't say I'm sick. You're sick. Don't be honest. My gosh, how could you possibly admit you're sick? Well, I always thought, well, if I don't admit I'm sick, then I can't ask God to heal me. Hey, God, heal me of nothing. Doesn't make sense. Honesty. Something Christianity's not good at. Something we have not been encouraged to do. As a matter of fact, many of you were fighting in your car when you pulled up in the parking lot, but you walked in like everything's just hunky-dory. Oh no, we can't let other people know. We can't be truthful. We've got to hide what's really happening. We're encouraged in church to hide the real us. We are encouraged to lie. We are encouraged to give a false view of who we really are. That, you know what, well, if you're down and depressed, smile anyway. If people ask you, how you doing? Oh, just fine, I'm great, yeah. In the inside, you're dying on the inside. You are hurting so bad, you are so lonely, but we can't let anybody know that because in church, we can't be honest. We are taught not to be honest in church. We are taught not to be honest with each other. It's a horrible thing. Like almost if we're honest with each other, it's like it somehow makes us guilty, somehow makes us bad. It's like, I don't want you to know who I really am. There's a good plan. Let's all let other people know who we really aren't. It doesn't make sense at all. So this series, We Are Access, talking about all the things that we as Access Church, we're not better than other churches, but these are the things that define this place different than others. And today I want to talk about this. If we are Access, we are authentic. By authentic, what I mean is we are not trying to put on a facade to try to let other people think we are better than we really are. We are not trying, if we are Access, we are authentic in the way that we are not trying to make other people think we're better than we are. We are not trying to lie about who we really are, that we are genuine. In other words, this, authentic means this: I am who I am. You either like it or you don't. We are who we are. And you know what? The more we let that out, we just may become closer to one another. If we could just be honest, who I am. Very early in ministry for me, many years ago, I don't know if it was my dad or my brother or some I don't know who first told me this, but they told me this, that, Kevin, if you're going to be in ministry, if you're going to be in the public, your goal should be this: make your public life and your private life as close together as humanly possible. It doesn't mean you blab all your garbage, but what it means is you don't hide all your garbage. Who you are at home by yourself is who you are when you're on the stage or you're in the lobby or you're talking. That to be authentic is to be who you really are. May your public life and your private life be as close together. And unfortunately, Christianity seems to encourage separating those two. Here at Access, we are authentic. We don't separate those two. Who you are at home should be who you are here. Just put pants on, okay? That's important. But as close as possible. See, we live in a culture, not just our Christian culture, but we live in a culture that encourages us to lie, to fake people out, to not reveal who we really are. I was at a restaurant. We were on a trip, and I was at a lot of restaurants, but just observing people. And there's one people I couldn't help but to notice. And this really happened, and it happens all the time. And maybe this is you. If it is, just take note. But I saw these people at a restaurant, and they were kind of, it was a couple. They were sitting apart, and they were just doing dinner, and they were talking. Neither one of them was smiling or anything. They weren't talking much. But then she brought out her phone. Oh, yeah, it's time for Facebook. They pulled together. They put on this big smile. I mean, this plastic BS Bible study smile. I mean, it's just like this. Having a good time. And then they went back to, I thought, what kind of B as in B, S as in S is this? We are encouraged to do that. And you know what? I bet you look at Facebook, and some of you aren't on Facebook. I don't know of anything else, but probably other social media too. Like, look at my great life. Oh, great, wonderful. Love my family. Oh, love my dog. Look at my dog. And then later you kick the thing. Really, we are promoting this idea of I'm going to show you the best of me, and that's not good, because here's a fact: when we do that, we actually make other people. They say that especially young teenage girls, like 80% of them get depressed after going on Facebook. Why? Because they see everybody else's plastic life like it's real, and they know their life's not like that. So they get depressed. But if they only knew, their life's not like that either. Look, can't we be more authentic, a little bit more real about this? When I was first a believer, first a follower of Jesus Christ, I remember hearing pastors and teachers and even church leaders, and it seemed like back then there was more of this hierarchy, like, those are the spiritual people, and we're the peons. I think that's changed, but I remember just getting this impression from them. I'm not sure anybody ever said it, but I got this impression from these religious pastors and leaders that they pray 6 hours a day. I know they gave me that impression on purpose. They pray 6 hours a day. They read their Bible every single day for 2.5 hours. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of like those teenage girls when they look at Facebook. I looked at that and just thought, there's no way. I'll never do this Christian thing. I can't do that. I'll never be a spiritual giant. I can't do that. And then later I found out they don't do it either. Okay, they don't do it either. I don't know why we try to perpetuate this false life, this false way of doing things, like not the really who I am. This is who I am. It might actually be a good thing. You say, Kevin, you're making a big deal out of this being an authentic thing. Like, really, why? You're doing a whole week just on this? Listen, this is so important. And let me tell you why it's the most important. Listen carefully. It's because of the mission. Shaheen didn't make up the mission, okay? Some pope somewhere didn't make up the mission. The mission was given to us by God himself through Jesus Christ. And the mission is to draw as many people as possible into a growing relationship with God through Jesus Christ. That's what we're all about. That's what this is. If you are a Christian, a believer in Jesus Christ, and you know God, then he has asked you to engage in this mission of reaching other people to know God and grow through God by believing in Jesus Christ. It's all about the mission. And listen, if you're listening to this or you're here today and you're not sure about this Christian thing, I know why, some of the reasons why you're not sure. Because I know that there are many people who are not Christian people and they don't want to be Christian people because of Christian people. And what is it about Christian people they don't like? I mean, there are people who want nothing to do with being a Christian because they've known Christians. And you know what their experience is with Christians? They're judgmental. They are judgmental. You don't live that lifestyle and don't do that, and that's a sin, and you're a sinner, and this is bad, and don't do that. They're just critical and condemning and judgmental. That's not helping the mission of drawing people if they see Christians being critical and condemning and judgmental. Another reason why people don't want to be Christians, and we all know this one, is because Christians are hypocrites. Amen? Oh, me? Oh, yeah? Uh-huh. Non-believers see Christians as the most hypocrite. I want nothing to do with, hey, I don't want nothing to do with hypocrites. Like, really? It just makes me want to throw up. It makes non-Christians want to throw up. When we're trying to draw people and we are judgmental and critical to them, they don't want to be a Christian. And then when we are, nothing is more sickening, really, than saying you are one thing and doing something else. Being a hypocrite. But no, being a hypocrite is not believing something and doing something else. Being a hypocrite is saying I do this and don't. Giving off the impression that I pray 6 hours a day and then you discover I don't, that's a hypocrite. And you know what our world discovers about Christians? They think they're all that. Oh yeah, man, they judge me because, they don't do that. You know what? Jesus knows better. Jesus gets this. As a matter of fact, he talked directly about this. Because here's the point. You know what God knows that we don't know? What God knows is this. You are no better than the people you're talking to. You are no better than me. He has a cigar once in a while and a shot of whiskey, and some of you sat there thinking, glad I'm not a sinner like him. Guess what God knows? You are. As a matter of fact, Jesus said this, talking about being a hypocrite and what the image we give to the world because we live a fake life, this plastic life. We don't know how to be honest with our lives and with people. We give people the impression that we're not as bad as them. That's not true. It's just simply not true. Oh, we may be, have different behaviors than them. Jesus himself just so directly talked about this. And he said this. He said, hey, you, me, Kevin, before you try to get the speck out of somebody else's eye, take the log out of your own. And it doesn't matter who he's talking to. It fits all of us. Before you're going to judge somebody, before you're going to pick apart their life, hey, why don't you look at yourself first? Because guess what? We all got work to do. None of us are there. Jesus was in a situation where these people who thought they were better than others brought this person who was just in a horrible sin before Jesus, said, hey, condemn this person. And Jesus said, sure, you know what they did is bad. What Kevin does is bad. Tell you what, you can go ahead and condemn Kevin. This is what Jesus would say. Go ahead and condemn Kevin. But listen, first one to condemn him, you have to just make sure you have no sin first. So any one of you here who has no sin, you judge me and condemn me for having a shot of whiskey, okay? I'm a liar too, okay? We all lie. I remember, sweet Linda, she's sitting out there. Sweet Linda. Linda lies, okay? Sorry, Linda. Linda Gilbert. We all lie. We're just not honest about it. Because somehow, if we're not honest about it, we feel better about ourselves. And here's the biggest problem of all this. The biggest problem is this. Do you know who believes our lies the most? We do. We start believing I'm better than somebody else. We start believing, well, since I don't do that or do that, I'm better than them. I'm more holy. Listen, there's not one of you more holy than me. And I am not more holy than any of you who know Jesus. But we start believing our own lies because we start fooling ourselves because our private life is here, our private thought life, our private, hatreds and talking behind someone, all of that's private. And our public life, we don't do that. And we got this smile and everything's okay. And I wouldn't say poopy if I stepped in it, because I'm clean. And we start believing this stuff. And there is such a huge warning about this. Listen, this is so important. This is why we are authentic, so this doesn't happen to us. Listen to Jesus talking about this very same topic. This topic, exactly. Listen to what happened. Listen to what he says. To some who were confident of their own righteousness and looked down on Kevin, because he has a cigar once in a while. They look down on everybody else. You know these people. If you're it, you might not identify it, but we know these people. Jesus told this parable to address this thing of people thinking they're better than others. 2 men went up to the temple to pray. One a Pharisee, which is a pastor. One a Pharisee, and the other a tax collector, which is just your run-of-the-mill total sinner. The Pharisee stood by himself and prayed. That's what he said to God, because he believed his own lies. God, I thank you that I am not like other people, robbers, evildoers, adulterers, or even like that tax collector. I fast twice a week, and I give 1/10 of all I get. I can just see this. God, I'm so glad I'm holy. I'm so glad I'm holy. I'm so glad I'm not like the sinners. Did I just start having an accent? I'm so glad, Father, I'm so glad that you've cleaned up my life, and I'm so glad that I don't swear anymore, and I'm not like that pastor. Man, God, thank you that I follow your rules, and I don't go to bad movies, and I don't say bad words, and you know what? I go to church all the time. God, thank you that I'm good. Yeah. Listen to this. But the tax collector stood at a distance. He would not even look up to heaven, but beat his breast and said, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. God, have mercy on me because I sin. I am a sinner. I don't follow all of your rules. I am not holy. I don't worship you all the time. I am imperfect. God, I can't even look up to heaven. Have mercy on me. Thank you for your sacrifice for me. I am hopeless without Jesus. And listen to this next line. It's so important. I tell you that this man, rather than the other, went home justified before God. This man was right with God and not the other. Not by behavior, but by honesty. By knowing I don't measure up. I am not worthy. I can't on my own. God, even on my best day, I don't even come close to your righteousness and your majesty. Every day, have mercy on me. And no matter how long you've been a Christian, no matter how well you think you follow, how clean your life is, that is the prayer that we all need to do. We need to be honest with ourselves and be authentic with others and ourselves. We need the grace of God in our lives every single day because we are all sinners. We all fall so short. We at Access, we are authentic. And I'll tell you what, I think this church, Access, is an amazing place. I love it. It's just I can't compare it to other churches. I just think it's better than most. And you know what? We got the most incredible band, don't we? I mean, just fantastic. That song, the band is great. And some people have asked, well, Access Church is wonderful. One of the best things they got there is they just got a really great band. It's just really good. And I'll tell you, that opener today puts them on the top of my list. Really great. But you know what? As great as this band is, and it really is, that's not what makes this place special. It's not. The speaking, like I said, Shaheen does a great job, little shit. He does a great job of communicating the meaning of the Bible. It's like it's fantastic. I think it's the best in the state. I do. But that's not what makes this church great. It's not. It's good, but it's not what makes this place great. I think our kids' ministry is engaging and wonderful and awesome. That's not what makes this place great. It's not why I would come here. The recovery ministry, the youth, everything that we do is, I think, top-notch. I think it's very engaging and awesome, but that's not what makes this church great. What makes this church great is the atmosphere in the lobby, the atmosphere when you walk up here and you come in, because this church has an atmosphere of authenticity. It's amazing. In this place is a place I feel so comfortable. When you come here, it doesn't matter who you are, how you're dressed, how much money you have, what your lifestyle was, what your past was, how you live now. It doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, in this place, when you come in, nobody's comparing. Nobody's judging. It doesn't matter. You come in here, it truly is the church of God where everybody's equal. There is nobody in this place. You understand it. You are what makes this place great. You are some of the most authentic Christians I have ever met in my life. And I visited other churches, and I mean, you walk in and say hi, and you know that's not real. Their private life, and it's all about performance and how to impress you. We don't get that here. You are who you are. You are some of the most authentic people. It's what makes this church fantastic. You are why I love to invite anybody. It doesn't matter if they're a doctor in town. It doesn't matter if they're an attorney. It doesn't matter if they came from a Christian home. It doesn't matter if they're still strung out on drugs and they got some horrible addiction problems. It doesn't matter what kind of lifestyle they're living. It doesn't matter. I am never ashamed to invite somebody here because no matter what they come from, I know that when they come in here, you realize you are no better than them. And we are authentic that, yeah, guess what? My poop stinks too. And I know yours does, but guess what? I'm aware that mine does too. I get it. That we are authentic. I've shared this before, but it's been a while. I didn't bring it with me, but at home, I have what I call a trophy for the church. It's a church trophy. And it's a cap. It's a ball cap. It's a red ball cap. And on the front of the cap, it has a very, very offensive, I don't care about you sign. Good way to say it. It's like, forgive you, right on the front. Anyway, I told the gentleman wearing that hat, he's a guy who, his name is Randy. He still comes from time to time, but he travels a lot. But Randy was on a motorcycle, and a drunk driver in a car hit him, and he lost his leg. he lost one of his whole legs. And he was so bitter and angry at the world, angry at everybody and everything. Why? This is so unfair, and why did this happen to me? And now my life is miserable. And he refers to himself now as IHOP. But anyway, I told him, Randy, when he was bitter and angry, I said, if you keep coming here, there's going to be a day you don't need that hat anymore. Your attitude's going to change. And I said, when that day comes, when that happens, will you give me that hat? And one day, I think it was at a Friday men's breakfast, he said, Kevin, I understand what you meant. I don't need this hat no more. I'm not mad and angry at the world. And I kept the hat. Like, why do you want the hat? I'm not going to wear it. It's pretty offensive. But I kept it as a sign for this church and how authentic you are. Because in the 3 months that he came and wore it, he wore it in the auditorium backwards. So if he was sitting right there, everybody behind you was getting the wave. And not one person, not one of you, came to me and said, Kevin, take him to take that hat. Tell him to take that hat. Don't let him come in here with that. I'm better than he is. Tell him go away. Not one person said that. Not one person in the months that he came tried to get him to look different, tried to get him to act different, tried to get him to leave because he didn't measure up. Not one person. To me, that is a trophy to your authenticity. That you are a church that understands nobody is better than you and you are better than nobody. So really quick, I know we're coming to an end, but here's the thing. Some of you listening to this, you're pushing back and you're saying, well, but my life is different. I don't do what I used to do. I don't smoke anymore, drink anymore, chew anymore. I know you still lust, but some of that other stuff you don't do anymore in your life. And so you're struggling with this, thinking, well, but I am better than others. I just want to read something Paul said that I just think nails it right to the point. He says this, for it is by God's grace, through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ and what God does in our life, that you have been saved. Through faith, believing that. And this is not from yourselves. It is the gift of God, not by works. What this means is this: if you think your life is better, it's God's grace in you so that no one can boast. Your life is better than it was at one time. But that's not because of your fabulousness. That's not because you're so awesome. You're still kind of a dirty, rotten sinner. It's because of God's awesomeness. It's because what God has done in your life. You can't look down at other people and say, I mastered my life. No, you didn't. The presence, almost broke it. The presence of our wonderful God has developed changes in us that we can't. If God were to take his hand off of your life for one moment, you would be right back to exactly the way you were in a millisecond. It is because of God. So again, by being authentic is I am who I am. I don't try to pretend to be who I'm not. What God has done and worked in my life, he has done and worked in my life. What God hasn't done and worked in my life, he hasn't done and worked in my life. But we are all a work in progress. My question to you, Shaheen started this with the beginning of this series with a question every week. And this is a great question for you. Just look in yourself. Don't tell anybody else, but just for yourself. How close is your private life and your public life? How genuine, how authentic are you? Do you try to put on an image that you're not? Do you try to fake it? No, I'm not talking about being polite. Don't fart in church, okay? You gotta be polite. But I mean about, really, you don't let anybody see the real you, your real fear, your anxiety, your greed, your hatred, your gospel. You don't let people see that because somehow I got to look better. And then we start believing it. How far apart are they? Because let's make this our goal. Every one of us, our goal. Father, help me make my public life and my private life so they're the same. I have nothing to hide. I am who I am. I don't need to impress anybody. God knows. God knows me and loves me. I told you one time that, and this was so freeing for me. I was talking to God and just having this great encounter with God, and I really felt like God impressed upon me. Like I was just enjoying God's presence, and I felt Him communicate to me, Kevin, you are the biggest mess up I have. And I know. But then He just flooded me with, but I love you so much. I just love you. And I felt like I could be okay with God knowing I know He knows I'm a screw up. Do you know how freeing that is? I certainly don't need to pretend to be something for you if God knows and loves me. How about all of us? We don't need to fake other people out. God knows who we are. God still loves us. Isn't that enough for you? Let's really make it a goal. I'm not going to lie anymore. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to give a false image of myself. I am who I am. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for freeing us up. We are who we are. You love us. Father, I'm sorry for all the people that I have hurt by trying to give off an image I am somebody I'm not. I'm sorry. May this not happen much anymore. Help each one of us to not give people the impression we pray 6 hours a day if we don't. To not give people the impression that we live a certain way if we don't. Give us the freedom to love ourselves and to love others just the way we are. Amen.
Hey, thanks again for joining us today for our online service. We really do hope that you're able to get something out of that. Like I said in the beginning, for worship today, if you want to click on the link in the description of this video, we have a playlist of songs that we'd love for you to just sit back, listen to those, take some time to engage. For the rest of you, again, we are back in person. If you are comfortable coming to an in-person service, we would love to have you here gathering with us. Otherwise, we will continue to do these online services, and we are just so glad that you're joining us. With that, we hope all of you have a great week. We hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next week. God bless.